Hello students, in this video lecture I am going to cover MCQs related to balancing of rotating masses. So let's start with question 1. The balancing of rotating and reciprocating parts of the engine is necessary when it runs at. So the balancing of rotating and reciprocating engines, they are necessary when the engine runs at high speed. So the answer for this is option C. Because at high speed, the unbalanced forces will be of very large magnitude. So that's why it needs to be balanced. Second question, the static balancing is satisfactory for low speed rotors, but with increase in speed, the dynamic balancing becomes necessary. This is because the effect of unbalanced force is proportional to the square of speed. In case of the rotating masses, the forces which are unbalanced are the centrifugal force. Now the magnitude of the centrifugal force is m omega square into r. In this case, omega square is nothing but the angular velocity which is proportional to the speed. So you can say that the unbalanced forces is nothing but the unbalanced centrifugal force which is proportional to the square of the speed. So it becomes necessary to balance the system at very high speed because force is directly proportional to the square of speed. Next question, a system is said to be in dynamic balance. It implies that the system is also in static balance. The condition for the dynamic balance is net force acting on the system is equal to 0 and net couple which is produced inside the system should be equal to 0. So when first condition is satisfied, then it is considered as a static balance system, and if both the conditions is satisfied, then it is considered as the dynamic balance of the system. So in this case, if both the conditions is satisfied, then it is called as a dynamic balancing, and if it is dynamic balance, then we can say that the system is also statically balanced. A disturbing mass m is attached to the rotating shaft which is to be balanced by a single mass m2 attached to it in the same plane of rotation as that of m1 such that, so you can say that a disturbing mass m1 attached to the rotating shaft. Consider this as a rotating shaft in which there is a disturbing mass m1 attached to it. Now it has to be balanced by mass m2 in a single plane, that is in the same plane as that of the m1. Now if the mass is rotating with the angular shaft is rotating with the angular velocity omega, then the centrifugal force acting on the mass m1 will be in the radially outward direction and its magnitude will be m1 omega square into r1. r1 is the distance of the mass from the axis of the shaft and r2 is the distance of the mass m2 from the axis of the shaft. And also for mass m2, the centrifugal force acting on it will be m2 omega square into r2. Now in this case, if the system is to be balanced, then the net force and the net couple acting on the system should be equal to 0. Now if we equate the forces which is acting on the system, then m1 omega square r1 should be equal to m2 omega square r2. So if we equate this to equation, then omega square is the constant which is nothing but the angular velocity of this shaft. So you will get the value as m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. So the condition for the system to be balanced is m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. For a static balancing of this shaft, what is the required criteria? So for the static balancing, the net force and the net force acting on the system should be equal to 0, and for the dynamic balancing, net force and net couple both should be equal to 0. So for the static balancing, the answer is option A. For dynamic balancing, net force and net couple both should be equal to 0, so the answer should be option C. In order to have complete balancing of the system of several revolving masses in different plane, then we can say that both the force and the couple both should be equal to 0 because the masses are revolving in the different planes. Often an unbalanced force of the system is produced in rotary or reciprocating machinery due to. So we know that in a rotating machine, the unbalanced forces are produced due to the centrifugal force, but in case of the reciprocating machine, the unbalanced forces are produced due to the reciprocating motion of the piston. So to summarize that, Often an unbalanced force is produced in rotary or reciprocating machinery due to inertial forces. These inertial forces are the forces which tries to bring back the system to its original equilibrium position. So if we talk about any kind of a machine, be it a rotary machine or the reciprocating machine, then the unbalance is due to the inertial forces. These inertial forces tries to bring back the system to its original equilibrium position. However, it is unable to do so because the masses or the forces which are which are acting in the system, they are unbalanced. Which of the following is true for the centrifugal force causing unbalance? The centrifugal force changes its direction with the rotation. How it changes the direction? Because let's say that there is an unbalanced mass m acting at a distance r, then the centrifugal force acting on it is m omega square into r. However, the shaft is rotating, so you can say that the direction of the centrifugal force, it will keeps on changing. So you can say that the centrifugal force causes unbalance because of change in its direction, not because of change in its magnitude. Right, magnitude will remains constant for a particular mass, and that will be m omega square into r. In a revolving rotor, the centrifugal force remains balanced as long as the center of the mass of the rotor lies on the axis of the shaft. So if the rotor is mounted on the shaft, then if the CG of the rotor is aligned with the axis of the shaft, then you can say that the system is balanced. What is the effect of rotating mass of the shaft on the system? So let's say that if there is a rotating mass which is acting on the shaft, which is mounted on the shaft. So this is a shaft on which the rotating mass is attached. So as the shaft is rotating with the angular velocity omega, let's say that the center of gravity of the rotor is not at the axis of the shaft. So this is the point at which the CG of the rotor is acting, right? So in this case, as the CG of the rotor is at a distance, is at some distance r from the axis of the shaft, then to summarize this condition, we can say that there is a shaft with the mass m. This mass m is the concentrated mass of the rotor at the center of gravity. So this concentrated mass of the rotor at the CG is at a distance r from the axis of the shaft. Now, as the mass rotates with the angular velocity omega, the centrifugal force acting on it will be in the radially outward direction, and that will be m omega square into r. Now to understand this system, let's say that because of the centrifugal force, the shaft will get bent in this direction. So this is the dotted line with which I am telling you that the shaft will bend. Okay, so you can say that the shaft will bend like this because of the centrifugal force acting in the radially outward direction. Now as the shaft is rotated, the centrifugal force will changes its direction. So as the centrifugal force changes its direction, when this mass m is at the bottommost position, then the centrifugal force is in the downward direction. Then as the centrifugal force is acting in the downward direction, it will causes the shaft to bend like this. Fine. So green color line represent the bending of the shaft due to the change in direction of the centrifugal force. So you can say that because of the change in direction of the centrifugal force, the shaft on which the rotor is mounted, it bends. Fine. So the effect of rotating mass on the system is to bend the shaft. Let the disturbing mass of 100 kg and radius of rotation 20 cm and the rotation speed be 50 radius per second. Then calculate the centrifugal force. Now we know that the formula for centrifugal force F is equal to m omega square into r. In this case, mass is 100 kg. Omega is what? Omega is 50 radian per second. So it will be 50 square, and radius is to be taken in terms of meter. So in terms of meter, radius is 0.2. So once you equate this, you will get the answer for the centrifugal force, and that will be equal to 50 kilonewton. For the static balancing of the engine, which condition is necessary? So for the static balancing, we know that the net force acting on the system should be equal to 0, or we can say that the force polygon must be closed. Which of the following system are associated statements are associated with the complete dynamic balancing of the rotating masses? First, resulting couple due to all the inertial force is equal to 0. Yes, for the dynamic balancing, the resultant couple should be 0. Yes, definitely. The support reaction due to the forces are 0, but not due to couple. No, at each and every point inside the system, forces and couple should be equal to 0. So the statement 2 is wrong. That is, balance reaction due to forces are 0 but not due to couple. It is 0 both due to forces and couple, right? So this statement is wrong. The system is automatically statically balanced. So when the system is dynamically balanced, two criteria is satisfied simultaneously. F is equal to 0, net force is equal to 0, and net couple is equal to 0. So we are already considering this condition, that is net force is equal to 0. So system is already in static balanced. The center of mass of the system lies on the axis of the rotation. We know that when the system is said to be balanced, then the CG of the rotor will lies on the axis of the rotation. So in this case, the option D is the correct, that is statement 1, 3 and 4 are correct. The unbalanced primary force in the rotating mass are partially balanced. No, in case of the rotating parts, the system is completely balanced, right? It is not partially balanced. So the answer for this is false. Which of the following factors are not responsible for unbalance in the rotating masses? So we need to check which of the factors are not responsible. Okay, so we know that because of the error in the manufacturing of the rotor, there might be a chances of unbalance in the system. However, due to the manufacturing tolerance and shape of the rotor, there are also chances of unbalance in the system. So which of the following is not responsible? Actually, all the three options, they are responsible for unbalance in the rotating system. Why they are responsible? Because of the error or tolerance in the manufacturing, there might be a chance of the CG of the rotor getting shift away from the axis of the shaft. So as the CG will shift from the axis of the shaft, maybe due to the error or due to the tolerance or due to the shape of the rotor, then it causes unbalance in the system. So which of this is not responsible? So the answer for this will be option D, as all are responsible for the unbalance in the system. Cradle type balancing machine is more sensitive machine than the pendulum type balancing machine. So in order to understand this question, you need to go through the two types of machines, that is cradle balancing machine and the pendulum balancing machine. These two are the machines which are used for static balancing of the system. They are used for static balancing of the system. What is static balancing? The net force acting on the system should be equal to 0. Fine. So in this case, we can see that the cradle type is more sensitive. More sensitive means what? Even if there is a small unbalanced force, then this type of balancing system is able to recognize that small unbalanced force. Okay. So as compared to that of the pendulum balancing machine. So that's why we can say that it is more sensitive as compared to that of the pendulum type balancing machine. Next question. Two correction planes are used in pivot cradle balancing machine to measure the unbalance in the rotating parts. Now, pivot cradle balancing machine is a type of dynamic balancing machine. It is a type of dynamic balancing machine. So in this case, we need to check two conditions, that is net force equal to 0 and net couple acting on the system should be equal to 0. Now to make the system completely balanced, we need to have two correction planes. In these two correction planes, we can either add the mass or subtract the mass in order to balance the system. Fine, in order to satisfy these two conditions, we need to use two correction planes in case of the pivot cradle balancing machine. So the answer for this is true. So with this, I end the MCQ part of balancing of rotating masses. If you like this video, then please share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.